Why your mind protects the part of you that does the damage. The mind doesn't protect you the way people think it does. It doesn't shield you from pain or guilt or harm. It protects something far more specific, something far more dangerous. It protects the part of you that functions, the part that keeps going after damage has been done. I didn't understand this until I noticed how easily my thoughts excuse certain actions. Not big ones at first. Small things. Moments of cruelty so subtle they barely registered as choices at all. Interrupting someone mid-sentence, withholding an apology, choosing silence when speaking would have changed everything. Each time my mind supplied a reason before guilt could arrive. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. You were tired. They deserved it. The explanations came so quickly that I mistook them for conscience. It's comforting to believe your mind is on your side. But what if it's not protecting you? What if it's protecting the version of you that causes harm because that version keeps the system running? The first time I questioned this was after a conversation I couldn't stop replaying. Someone close to me had said something vulnerable, something fragile. I responded coldly. Not aggressively. Worse. Efficiently. I shut the moment down. Later, alone, I waited for regret. It never came. Instead, my mind offered reassurance. You avoided escalation. Emotional detachment is healthy. This outcome was optimal. The words felt rehearsed, polished, like they had been used many times before. I started noticing a pattern. Whenever my actions hurt someone, even slightly, my mind reacted not with reflection, but containment. It isolated the event, minimized it, framed it as necessary. Any thought that threatened to examine the behavior was gently redirected. No need to dwell. You're overanalyzing. Focus on what's next. And I would. Effortlessly. That's when it hit me. My mind wasn't failing to hold me accountable. It was actively preventing accountability. Because accountability disrupts function. I tested the theory. I deliberately revisited moments I knew I'd mishandled. I forced myself to stay with the memory longer than was comfortable. I asked questions my mind usually avoided. Why did I say that? Why did I choose distance over honesty? Why didn't I stop myself? Almost immediately, I felt resistance, not emotional pain, but something colder, a tightening behind my eyes, a dull pressure in my chest. Then the rationalizations arrived. You're rewriting the past. You can't judge yourself with hindsight. This line of thinking is counterproductive. The language was clinical, impersonal, protective. It wasn't protecting my feelings. It was protecting my continuity. The version of me that moves forward without stopping. From that point on, I noticed how my mind handled blame. Whenever responsibility threatened to land too close to home, it deflected. It reframed. It shifted context. It blurred intent. Not enough to lie, just enough to keep me operational. The realization was unsettling. My mind didn't care if I was good. It cared if I was stable. The more I watched, the clearer it became. Every damaging behavior had a guardian. Every harmful instinct came with a justification ready to deploy. And the most disturbing part? The justifications were convincing. They didn't sound like excuses. They sounded like wisdom. I began to wonder how long this had been happening. How many choices had been shaped not by morality, but by the need to preserve a version of myself that could keep functioning without fracture. How many times had I mistaken emotional numbness for maturity? How many times had my mind protected the part of me that does the damage because acknowledging the damage would destabilize everything else? The answer came quietly. One night, as I lay awake replaying a memory I wasn't supposed to revisit. A moment where I could have acted differently. Where I should have. The resistance rose immediately. Pressure, fatigue, the familiar urge to let it go. But I stayed. And for the first time, my mind didn't defend me. It went silent. In that silence, something surfaced. Not guilt, recognition. I saw the pattern clearly, the way my mind steps in the instant harm is done, not to prevent it, but to seal it off, to bury it quickly before it spreads into identity. Damage isn't the threat, awareness is. That's why your mind protects the part of you that does the damage, because that part is efficient. That part doesn't hesitate. That part doesn't stop to feel. And stopping to feel is how systems break. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Every sharp comment followed by justification, every cold decision wrapped in logic, every relationship slowly eroded by reasonable distance. Your mind smooths the edges, sandpapers the harm, keeps you moving forward without ever looking back too closely. The most frightening realization came last. If your mind protects the damaging part of you, it's because that part is useful. And usefulness, to the brain, is more important than goodness. Now, when I catch myself justifying something that hurt someone else, I don't feel relieved anymore. I feel watched, like something inside me is making sure I don't dig too deep, making sure I stay functional, making sure I keep moving. If you're listening to this and thinking, this doesn't sound like madness, that's the point. This is how damage survives unnoticed. This is how people become unrecognizable to themselves without ever breaking. Your mind doesn't protect you from the monster. It protects the monster from you. Because once you see it clearly, you might stop it. And stopping it would require becoming someone else.